I went to a therapist for a while because life has no ultimate predetermined meaning, and that can be kind of stressful depending on how you look at it. And at the end of one of our first sessions, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna be able to get rid of this deep existential dread because I'm not gonna be able to stop believing the things about the world that are causing the dread. And she pauses for a second, looks at me the way therapists look at you, and says, you don't have to change what you believe, but you can change how you feel about what you believe. It's not that surprising of an observation. It's not enigmatic or witty or aphoristic. It's actually pretty matter of fact and obvious. But it's the only thing I remember from a year of conversations. That part's my fault, not hers. And over time, it changed everything for me. I can believe that the universe is devoid of meaning all day long, but I don't have to be fucking miserable about it. I had been assuming like it's some sort of unassailable first principle that meaninglessness had to be anxiety inducing. But why? The birds are loud today. Why can't it be life-giving and hopeful? Nothing says it can't. And as I became open to that being possible, it became true. Meaninglessness brings hope. How? Now that's for another video. Come along if you feel like it. If the universe had a meaning, your life would be pointless. 3 reasons. 1, being aware of an ultimate meaning would be a fucking spoiler. We'd know the whole point. Life would be like watching a game you recorded to watch later, but then you accidentally found out who won. Pointless. 2, if there's a known ultimate meaning, then we all have a moral obligation to make our life about that thing. This is where religions come from. It is the one meaning of the universe, after all. And if we all must do one thing, we're tools, cogs, pawns, pick your metaphor. And what does that make life? Pointless. 3, if there's an ultimate meaning, nothing else matters in comparison. Who gives a shit about your little family, for instance? It's nothing compared to the universe's mega meaning. Some people actually believe this and it makes them nut jobs, but that's a different topic. Ultimate meaning negates the value of everything else that matters to you, making life, you guessed it, pointless. Summary. Ultimate meaning would cause personal meaninglessness. Ultimate meaninglessness allows personal meaning. But just because ultimate meaning would suck doesn't mean it's not real. Lots of things are real and suck. Fortunately, it's also logically impossible. But I'm out of time, so that's for another video. Maybe. Come along if you feel like it. Fair warning, my next video will probably be about why there's a D in the word fridge or something. If life is meaningless, should we have children? Is a question I've seen a couple times. Let's start by cutting off the first half of that question. The meaninglessness of life is not what makes children a difficult decision. It's the existence of pain. And there's no mainstream worldview that denies suffering. So whether or not to have kids is an important question for thoughtful potential parents, irrespective of their religion. And it's as personal as it is universal. Everyone has to decide for themselves, obviously. I would just put forward one fact to keep in mind. Every potential human life is currently in the absolute peace and comfort of non-existence. And giving birth to it brings it into a world of pain without its consent. Becoming a parent thoughtfully and intentionally means that you have a motivation that overcomes this astronomical obstacle. That's conceivable. My kids came along years and years ago, before I thought this way, so I've never wrestled with this question other than theoretically. So I think it's important to keep in mind that I'm addressing this whole issue from a place of unmitigated hypocrisy.
Have you ever tried making a chicken and veggie one-pan meal?
No. But have you ever thought about how, in order to solve the problem of ultimate meaninglessness in the universe, you have to propose some sort of higher being? And then, in one fell swoop, out of thin air, you've created the problem of evil? And so you have meaninglessness or evil, intentional suffering, and both problems seem rather intractable. And we solve them, of course, with mental gymnastics, which some people look down on, but I don't know. I'm a fan of gymnastics, I think, considering the other options.
Isn't it interesting that the brevity of life can lead to two opposite conclusions about the value of life? On the one hand, the shortness of our time here can make it seem important. This life is all we have. Make the most of it. And on the other hand, it can make it seem unimportant. We came from dust, we'll return to dust, and everything is meaningless. Both of these responses, opposites though they may be, are completely reasonable reactions to pondering our more or less imminent death. So which one is right? Is life meaningful or meaningless? Yes. Okay, I don't like that answer either. This is turning out to be a dumb TikTok.
At no point were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. May God have mercy on your soul.
But that non sequitur of an answer is the only one that works at all with this line of inquiry. Is life meaningful or meaningless? Yes. There is a simple solution to this nonsense, though. Reject the question. It's a false dichotomy between two fantasies created by our anxiety. Meaning and meaninglessness. They don't exist. But that's for another video. I love saying that. Come along if you feel like it. It's not going to start making more sense, but, you know, might be interesting. There's really only one way, but at least there is one way, to
overcome the pain of absolute meaninglessness. I don't want to sound glib, but it's just to stay busy. Go with me on this. It makes sense. When you're actively engaged in right now, when you're mentally occupied, meaning, the concept itself, ceases to exist. Because you're too taken up in experiencing the moment to be analyzing that moment for its importance. And if the concept of meaning doesn't exist, neither does meaninglessness. Problem solved. You wouldn't think it'd be that easy, but there you have it. Meaninglessness goes away when you distract yourself. And then a fun little side observation. It's interesting to watch how some people call the way they distract themselves meaning. Hey, if you like making life just an iota better by thinking different instead of having to do anything, come along. I got more.